This is John Bailey, the epic voice of Honest Trailers, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. It's a Fangirls podcast with five-ish people. The tangents and squee will continue. Squee.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 165 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Say what you will about our future dystopian horror show, it has a nice view. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. We're on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Christy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone. I'm back from vacation.
Hello.
Yeah.
And you forgot to bring the warm weather back with you.
It was like 50 degrees and over like dark clouds and rainy and very windy, so there was no nice weather to bring back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Florida wasn't the sunshiny state, was it?
It was up until the day we left.
I guess it didn't want you to leave.
Or they wanted me to leave. I don't know. It makes it a little easier to leave when the weather's like that.
Yeah, true. I think it was like I had friends in Florida. They were showing pictures of like little snow flurries. I was like, wait, what? How's that?
Yeah, they got snow up in like the Pensacola area when we left, so it can snow in Florida, but that's a story for another time. As Chauncey makes comments from the other room. So anyway, so as I was saying right before we started recording, I do have to make a bit of a retraction or a correction. I guess more of a correction than a retraction for our last episode, because apparently after 100 and something episodes, it was bound to happen eventually. I miscounted, and in the intro last episode, I said it was episode 165 when it's actually 164. So this is actually 165.
That's okay. We can't count either, so we didn't correct you.
Well,
none of us
I figure
paid attention, apparently.
Yeah, I figure if I got to 160 something episodes without screwing up, that's pretty darn good, actually. So.
Yes, very good. Yep.
So if you downloaded the episode like immediately once it was in the feeds, it may say 165. I've since corrected it, so if you update it, it should be the correct number now. So, I went to do the show notes and finalize all the little things that I do after the show goes out in the feeds, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm off. That's wrong. I have to go find all the places where the the numbers in the title, and had to correct it all. So. But we're good now. This should be 165. I think we're good now. So
Okay,
we should be good. So with that corrected, let's jump into the news first with some 10 o'clock news. Unfortunately. So Jim Nabors, who played Gomer Pyle on the Andy Griffith Show, passed away at the age of 87. So, which I've got to know really well because of Chauncey's several binge watches of the Andy Griffith Show. But being born and raised in Indiana for the longest time, yes. He was one of the voices of the Indianapolis 500.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I really remember him from. And of course, we lost Florence Henderson earlier this year, and she was the second, Jim Nabors sang Back Home Again in Indiana. So we got Gomer Pyle there, and then we got Mrs. Brady singing God Bless America, I think. She's out. We don't actually get to watch it on TV live. You can listen to it on the radio live.
That
things, especially what if you can't get tickets to the race?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, they did air it live just because it did sell out because it was the 100th running. They made an exception that year, but it has always been blacked out. So we have to watch it later in the evening after it's already happened and we already know who won.
Wow.
So unless you bother to turn on your radio on that Sunday, you miss all the opening pomp and circumstance and the national anthem and all that.
And sometimes
you don't get to see any of that
race.
until later, yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, I could go on about, blackouts and tickets and stuff like that, but I won't.
Yeah, but anyway, so but
that's
Jim,
for another. That's for another.
Yeah, Jim had actually retired from singing Back Home Again several years ago, just because he was getting up there in years, and he lives in Hawaii, so it was kind of a trek for him to come from Indiana, from Hawaii to Indiana. And all that, he just wanted to enjoy, his retirement years with his husband in beautiful Hawaii, which you can't blame him for that. So they've had several other artists since then, but they haven't had someone be consistent to do that since. So, but this upcoming 500 actually will be kind of bittersweet now that both Jim and Florence are no longer with us. But thankfully he has, like pretty much everyone else that we talk about when we have this news, is he will live on in the works that he did, all those past broadcasts of the 500 and all those episodes of Andy Griffith, and then the spinoff, the Gomer Pyle spinoff, and the other things he did. So, but the Motor Speedway actually. The last few years they've been doing Christmas lights at the Speedway, so you can drive. I think they started doing it once they put in the road course. So you can actually drive on the road course, and they've set up, big Christmas light display, and you actually get to drive your car on the track for a little bit. And after Jim passed away, they added like a thank you. Kind of tribute to him to the lights, so that was nice. Well,
that's good.
Excuse me. So there's that, and then we're gonna kind of stay in the news.
Well, this isn't so much 10 o'clock news as it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
Yeah.
And soapbox is at the ready.
Yes, and so this one kind of, ticked off a lot of people, myself included.
You have a personal connection to this, though.
I do indeed. So if you recall, several years ago, San Diego Comic-Con kind of threw a fit because Salt Lake Comic-Con existed and called itself Comic-Con, and the initials are vaguely similar, save one. And the Salt Lake organizers, they drove the Salt Lake Comic-Con car down to San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con, which I guess people were confused and thought that it was with San Diego. I don't know. I thought other conventions would go to San Diego and kind of do, publicity and whatever. But whatever. So San Diego threw a fit and said, "Oh, you're infringing on our copyright. You can't use our name, and we have all these, demands for damages and stuff." And so the case finally went to trial, and long story short, the jury actually sided with San Diego Comic-Con, even though there are a gazillion other Comic-Cons throughout the country and in Canada and throughout the world as well. Mm-hmm. So the jury said that basically it wasn't a willful infringement, so they only awarded Salt Lake Comic-Con only has to pay San Diego $20,000 instead of the $12 million that they originally had demanded. And
but still, ouch.
Yeah, that's still a big chunk of change. And I just want to say, I want to say this about San Diego. Okay, guys, lawyer up and send and stick your goons on every other Comic-Con in the country and sue them. If you're gonna sue us, you sue them too, because they do the exact same thing. And Comic-Con is it's a generic term. I don't know what you're thinking that it's not. But
they do have the trademark though.
They have the trademark with the hyphen.
Yeah, but apparently hyphens and capitalization don't matter.
Apparently not. So that's why I said, set your lawyers out, guys. Like, get going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm annoyed.
Yeah, I do have to say the response on the Salt Lake Comic-Con page though from the organizers was very. They are being the bigger person and they're not whining and, going, oh, it's so unfair. They're like, you know what? Great. We only have to pay them $20,000. We have that in our budget. It will not affect our ability to do the convention next year.
Yeah.
So,
and that's, us as fans, we can kind of, carp and moan about it, which a lot of us have, but Dan and Brian and all the Salt Lake Comic-Con team, they've been very classy about this. Mm-hmm. So, I'm praising them for that. And they said, that we're not going to change the name, but if they have to, they will just call it Salt Lake Fan X because they have that name already and they can use it.
Yeah.
It's just, it just stinks because, I don't know. I like San Diego as far as San Diego Comic-Con, as far as it being, hey, look at all these cool new things that, that you're going to see. But I don't have to go to San Diego to have a good time with it. In fact, I would rather stay home and see all this stuff online. But like Salt Lake, it's just kind of, and I'm sure other conventions like this are the same way. I mean, it's bringing in actors and creators from older properties and older things that you like. And, getting to meet them and it's kind of more of a hometown feeling rather than a mass Hollywood marketing thing, kind of a deal. So it's just sort of, I don't know, it's unfortunate, but they're still going to do Comic-Con next September, possibly Fan X. I know that they've been trying to get it on the schedule, but the Salt Palace Convention Center is just booked through next spring. So there was talk of them trying to get it at a different venue, so it would be a lot smaller if it's the venue I'm thinking they might try for, but it's not a guarantee. But they do have it booked for next September at least, and they're still going to do it. And tickets they've already started the loyalty launch. So if you're local or you're going to travel, you want to come, they haven't even announced any guests yet, but you can get 35% off your tickets. But anyway, so I'm just kind of sad about this, but it didn't destroy Salt Lake Comic-Con by any stretch of the imagination. And honestly, the guys, Dan and Brian, have just said, hey, we can focus our attention 100% on putting together the best Comic-Con that we can. And I'm like, I look forward to it. Yeah. So anyway, there's that bit of news.
Yeah.
Along with my editorializing, because heaven knows I never do any of that.
Well, you somewhat have a personal stake in it, because it is your hometown con. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. And and we've already. Well, I'll say this. Like Jared and I, well, it's more Jared than me, but we've already taken steps to get him in a booth to sell his books at Comic-Con next year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a big deal because there's a lot of local talent that comes out to promote their books, and because there's a lot of writers in Utah. Like, I swear, it's like you can't throw a rock without hitting a professional writer.
Yeah.
in our area, and I can kind of guess why that is. There's just a lot. I mean, for a long time, well, I think they still do it. BYU has a really awesome creative writing program that is geared toward, writing about, sci-fi, fantasy, children's literature, teen literature, even some romance, I think. But it's more about, it's about craft, but it's also about yourself. So there's a lot of professional writers who make a living who came out of that program. And then there was another local university, a little smaller, that was trying to get one going too. So, I mean, it's kind of a big deal for him to be able to go. It wouldn't be like an official guest, but there's a small press that he knows people there that they say, oh yeah, come and you have some space at our table and we'll put your stuff out.
Yeah.
So just to be able to do something like that, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I mean, that's good for his career, good for us, and hopefully good for Comic-Con, just to have all his local names too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went off on a tangent.
Hey, that's what we do best.
Indeed. Yeah. So anyway, looking forward to it. I'm glad that the lawsuit's over. It's unfortunate it turned out.
Yeah.
I was saying, set the lawyers on the other Comic-Cons. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Well, yeah.
Because that would just be awful.
Yeah.
So. And it would make San Diego have to be like the big bad monster.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of probably the conventions that are big enough that they could end up in San Diego's crosshairs that use the term Comic-Con are probably going, okay, we need a name change, and just change the name now, and then you don't have to worry about it. So,
yeah. Although it kind of stinks that that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. It is what it is. So.
It is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Comic-Cons, got some convention announcements from Indiana Comic-Con, and I get they've not made any indication whatsoever that they're planning on changing their name anytime soon. So I guess for the time being, it's still going to be Indiana Comic-Con. But they're still making guest announcements. So I just shared one on our Facebook page, but there have been several since we last recorded, including Nolan North, voiceover artist from games such as the Uncharted series, Assassin's Creed, and Destiny. Several guest artists. This I guess is kind of an interesting announcement. Henry Thomas. You may not recognize him by name, but you know him from his best role as Elliot in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Interesting.
It's always interesting that these names that you hadn't heard for years or ever from things like E.T. or whatever, and they suddenly start doing the con circuit, and it's like, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of a surprise.
Yeah. But artists that I'm interested in seeing, I didn't know he necessarily did comic type conventions. Bill Amend, who does the Foxtrot comic strip.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool. Last I knew, he was pretty much retired, but hey.
Veronica Taylor, who's the voice of Ash Ketchum. Of course. A lot of people know her. And then the one that was announced a couple hours ago, and I just recently shared on our Facebook page, Jonathan Frakes.
Woohoo!
Commander William T. Riker.
Right.
Among other things. Or as us librarians folks know. He's got quite a few ties to it as well. So.
Yep.
Well, and he also, I believe he directed at least one episode of The Orville.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't remember which one it was now. I'm spacing out, but yes, he was involved there.
Yep.
Pun intended.
So.
What's that?
So was that pun intended? Spaced out?
Oh yes. Yes.
We'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waiters up. So as we actively get to the end of 2017, the conventions will quickly pick up in their announcements. So So if you're curious as to what your local convention may be doing, check their social medias. So always the best place for news and announcements.
Of course.
Yep. Excuse me. And then what else in news? Today the Golden Globe nominations were announced for the 75th Golden Globes, which, if you aren't familiar or forgotten, Golden Globes is TV and movies. So we've got a little bit covered, and then, of course, you know, as with the major awards, 95% of what gets nominated is stuff that we don't talk about here on the podcast and don't really care about. But there are a few, because since TV is included, unlike others where it's strictly movies like the Oscars and all that. So nominees that we care about. Best Motion Picture Animated, Coco, which I've not seen yet. It's on the list. I will get to it. From what I understand, it'll make me cry, so I have to mentally prepare myself.
I feel like
it's a Pixar movie, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but not every Pixar movie makes me cry. But this one apparently is like extra cry worthy. So I'm gonna need to make sure I'm in the right mental state before I go see it. And then Best TV Series Drama, Game of Thrones, of course, Stranger Things, yay, and The Crown, yay, which I know the season 2 just dropped last Friday. I have not seen it yet. I was busy. I've been on vacation. I will get to it. Best Performance by an Actress in a TV Series Drama, and I am going to butcher her name because I do it every time. What is it? Catriona
Balfe?
Catriona Balfe.
Katrina?
Yes.
It's actually pronounced Katrina.
Yes.
Katrina, yeah.
Yeah. From Outlander. And then Claire Foy for The Crown. And then Best Performance by an Actor in a TV Series Drama, which I don't watch this, but I know Brittany does. Freddie Highmore for The Good Doctor.
Yes. And what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I've only watched one episode. I loved it, but I don't think I could watch more. But yeah, just going by the first episode I watched, he very well deserves it.
Yes, and every episode,
Yeah.
He portrays that character so well, and
yeah. From what I understand, it's quite the emotional roller coaster of a TV show.
Mm-hmm. It is, especially the fall finale. Oh my goodness, so many emotions.
It's on the list, but once again, mental preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I'll put this in, and maybe, people who do have kids or who, have had kids for years will be like, well, duh, I know this, but I'm a new parent, so just bear with me. Because the first episode, it was, a little boy, his life was in danger, and Freddie Highmore's character basically, came in and saved him. But when the boy was, in trouble, I was just sitting there like, yeah, don't cry, you can handle this, don't cry. Like, I don't know, maybe just, having a little boy of my own, I'm just kind of like, I can't stand to see kids in peril. I mean, I didn't like it before, but now it's even worse. So
I can imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, the kid was fine in the end, but I was just like, oh, I can't. I'm sorry.
Mm.
But no, it was a good show. Very.
So the Golden Globes are in early January. So if you're so inclined, you can watch it and see if your favorite wins. All right, and last but certainly not least, a couple of trailers, including first a teaser and then the actual trailer for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which considering I was just at Universal and rode the Jurassic Park ride and had watched Jurassic Park finally completely all the way through from beginning to end without any interruptions before we left. This makes way more sense now. I had seen Jurassic World without seeing Jurassic Park just because I knew enough. But now that I've seen Jurassic Park all the way through, things make way more sense.
It's like, oh, I get why the thing and the other guy and that thing happened.
Yes, and especially now in the trailer, we see the return of Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm. So.
Yeah, because when Jurassic World came out, I was surprised that he wasn't in it. Because he was in at least one of the sequels, maybe the other one, I can't remember now. But then they had his book, and that was kind of funny. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just kind of a joke now. Yeah. But now he's actually in it. So, yay.
So, that should be interesting. So, there's going to be dinosaurs, there's going to be running, there's going to be destruction.
And it looks a lot different than the other Jurassic Park sequels I've seen. So this actually be okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's still that universe, so you have the same things that we've seen in all of them. It's like there's dinosaurs, stuff gets destroyed. You know, dinosaurs are going to scream at people and chase, and people are going to run, and so. But supposedly this time around, our main female lead is going to be wearing more sensible shoes. So we have that to look forward to. The return of Jeff Goldblum and more sensible shoes for the female lead. So we've got that going for. And more Chris Pratt. So always down for more Chris Pratt.
Me too.
And then we got a trailer and release date for Jessica Jones Season 2. And my girl is back! As pissed off and as drunk and just, I don't give AF as ever. And I love it. I'm so excited. So, early March, Jessica Jones returns. I'm excited.
And the trailer also dropped for Ready Player One.
Yeah,
March release as well.
We've had several teases, I think, for Ready Player One. So
this was the actual trailer in.
Yeah.
I may have to go back and reread the book.
Yeah,
it's been a few months.
I have it. I just haven't read it yet, but I got time. So
it's good. It's good.
I have to start reading it.
Yeah.
I need to stop picking up books.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. I need to stop picking up books.
Yeah.
Yeah. This new book I got is huge, and it's part of like a giant series. Like, oh my goodness.
What is it? I'm curious now.
It's. Have you heard of the Sword of the Truth book series?
Sword of Truth. Oh yeah.
Yeah, my cousin's been.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my cousin's been telling me about it since the summer, and like, I'll finally decide to read it. Trying to get a good outfit done before I see her.
That'll definitely keep you occupied.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's like Alex agrees.
And then remember one of our news items a while back saying that they were going to split the librarians instead of doing a 2-hour premiere and then single episodes. Rowan just announced not that long ago before we went on, TNT is airing 2 back-to-back episodes for the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
So mark your calendars and DVRs, and then I think it goes back to singles.
And that's assuming basketball does not get in the way.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So this Wednesday, instead of 1 episode, we get 2. Same with next week and the week after.
I'm so glad they changed things at the last minute like this. I mean, makes everything so interesting and fun and not really.
And that also explains too why last night when I was checking the to-do list on my DVR that I saw next week Wednesday, librarians, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'm like, what? They weren't supposed to do that. Well, question answered.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought, oh, maybe the guide hasn't updated yet on the satellite. Nope, it was updated and it was correct.
Yep.
Nicolene,
ball.
TNT, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Well, if they weren't the home of the the NBA, then I think we'd be fine. That's what I'm assuming. I don't.
It's basketball.
Yeah.
It's just like, yay, our show is back, but I want it to last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't complain if they made it a few episodes longer, but
then they just burned through it. It's like, hey, we have this show, and now we're just gonna, throw it out there all at once. And I mean, it works for Netflix and Hulu because that's what they do. But really, guys?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep.
That's okay. Show's coming back, so yeah.
Yay.
2 more days.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna complain too much.
Oh, indeed.
Yep. So that's the news. Surprisingly, not a whole lot of news for us being off for a week, but that may or may not change depending on what a certain mouse-led company decides to write a big check to another big company at some point this week.
Yeah, which rumors have been started since last week. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. But we don't discuss rumors on this show normally. So.
Not until we know for sure it's a sure deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're just waiting and seeing with the rest with everybody else. Oh my. So all right. Well, let's move on. I guess I do want to touch quickly on my vacation, not to make anybody feel bad because they didn't go, but I could spend episodes talking about Walt Disney World and all the fun stuff, but I just want to touch on I guess kind of the two big things that I was really excited to see. There's been multiple updates and changes to stuff since I was last there like 4 years ago. But I guess the two biggest things is over at Universal. Since I was last at Universal, they have added Diagon Alley. For those that don't know, Universal's got 2 parks in Florida. There's Universal Studios, and then there's Islands of Adventure. Islands of Adventure is where they first put Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, with Hogsmeade and Hogwarts and all of the fun stuff that goes with that. And since then, they have added Diagon Alley over at Universal Studios. So if you want to experience both, you have to have a ticket that gets you into both parks. Whether it's 1 park per day or a ticket that allows you to hop from 1 park to the other, which you have to have if you want to ride the train, aka the Hogwarts Express. Because you can walk from 1 park to the other, but now that they've added the Hogwarts Express, why do that? Because you literally can ride the Hogwarts Express. You go to and the best way I recommend it is the way we did it is go to the studios, go to the back of the park, go to Diagon Alley first, and the walking into Diagon Alley, I cried walking into Hogsmeade for the first time. I cried again walking into Diagon Alley just because, and it's so well themed. It looks like it came straight out of the movie. It's amazing.
Nice.
It's absolutely amazing. It is so detailed and so much to look at. There's the Fred and George's shop. There's Ollivanders. There's the pet shop. There's There's Gringotts, which Gringotts is the attraction, the ride, Escape from Gringotts. There's the giant dragon up on top that breathes fire every so often, and it's so cool. And you can feel the heat from the fire from the dragon, from pretty much anywhere you're standing. It's amazing. The ride is amazing. It's got some amazing effects as far as making it's 3D, but it's also 4D because there's some physical effects. The actual ride vehicle itself has some amazing, I guess, mechanical ways of doing things. It's not just going face first on a track. It has the ability to go different directions, which is pretty amazing. There's of course, there's obviously shopping, plenty of Harry Potter merchandise to spend your hard-earned galleons on. There's live entertainment. They have Celestina Warbeck. You can watch her perform, which is very cool. And then you get to ride if you've got the right ticket, you can ride the train. You have to leave Diagon Alley, go back out into London, where they've got the night bus parked out front with the driver and the shrunken head, and they talk to each other, and they talk to you. That's pretty cool. And then you go into King's Cross Station, and they check your ticket. And once they check your ticket, you go through the queue to a certain point where you get to go through the wall to platform 9 3/4, which is very cool. And then you ride the Hogwarts Express from platform 9 3/4 to the station in Hogsmeade, and there's a whole thing to watch when you're. And I don't want to give stuff away, but there's stuff you can watch riding the train, and it's different if you go the opposite direction. If you go from Hogsmeade back to King's Cross Station, you get a completely different experience. So you want to make sure to factor in time to ride it both directions. But yeah, it was so cool. I probably could have spent most of the day in Diagon Alley just looking in all of the windows and checking around corners and peeking through doors and looking at every single corner and all the shops that were open. Is so amazing. I mean, Hogsmeade is pretty cool. They have changed some things since I was last there because of adding Diagon Alley. And Hogsmeade is awesome too. We had lunch at the Three Broomsticks, which is always good. But Diagon Alley is just so much more. It's so much more. And I'm like, I wish I had more time. I just want to look at all of the things and read all of the books and signs. And oh my goodness, it's absolute. As a Harry Potter fan, you have to. You have to go. It is a must do. Especially if you can both parks, preferably on the same day. That way you can ride the train. Because you need to ride the train because it's awesome. And then over at Disney's Animal Kingdom is Pandora, the world of Avatar, not the jewelry company. Just in case some people may not know.
Or the music app.
Yeah, we're
that too.
Or the music app. No, we're talking James Cameron, giant blue, people. That Pandora.
Dances with Smurf Gully.
Yes, Dances with Smurf Gully, exactly. Yeah, even if you're not a fan of the James Cameron movie, Pandora is amazing. The flora and fauna and the sounds and the smells, it's otherworldly, which I guess pun intended.
The pictures you posted on Instagram of those were just like, wow.
Yeah. It's amazing, especially the how they've managed to replicate the floating mountains. Oh my goodness, it's really, really cool. And then the two attractions there, which it's a boat ride. That's something Disney does quite a bit. Small World, Pirates, that sort of thing. But it's got a lot of the bioluminescent plants inside of it because the boat ride takes entirely inside. It's got the bioluminescent plants. They've got creatures running around. There's this amazing animatronic of a Na'vi shaman that is, as far as I know, this is probably one of the most advanced state-of-the-art animatronics in any amusement park or theme park at the moment. It looks so realistic. The movements are so fluid. It's astonishing. But the piece de resistance is Flight of the Passage, which I kept myself, even though this, they've been, promoting this for months and months and months, and it opened earlier this year, and I know people that have gone, and they've posted pictures, and there's been countless video posted. I've tried to keep myself as spoil-free as possible, specifically for this attraction, and I'm so glad I did. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's the storyline is that you get they've created technology that allows you to link to an avatar, which can then be linked to a banshee, and you get to ride on the back of a banshee. But the ride vehicle that you sit on and the visuals and the 4D effects, because there are 4D effects. If you've ever ridden Soarin', it's Soarin' on steroids, essentially. I cried writing this for the first time. And it's not that I'm a huge fan of James Cameron's Avatar, but working with Chauncey, because this is what Chauncey works on. If you know anything about my husband and the stuff that he works on, Flight of the Passage is right up his alley of something that he could have worked on if he was a Disney Imagineer. It would be so in his wheelhouse. And there's going to be a lot of people that ride this and they just watch it and they enjoy the sensations, and that's fine. But having worked on stuff like that, I noticed a lot of the technology and other things that Disney has added to it to make it a much more immersive experience. And a lot of people are probably not consciously aware of the effects that are being used on them. But I was aware, and I was just so amazed at how seamlessly it works together. And I don't really want to go more into it just because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But, if you can get down there and ride it, the lines are stupid long unless you can get there.
But it's worth the wait, though, right?
I don't know if it's worth the 2 to 3 hour wait times that it's been averaging. I would say if you could get in, if the line is probably under 2 hours, I would say it's probably worth a wait. Anything beyond that,
maybe.
Anything beyond that, I think you're really wasting your park time, to be honest. As amazing as it is.
Maybe you wait a few months and until it's not so crazy.
Yeah, well, I doubt that it's probably going to die off in excitement that quickly. I imagine once Galaxy's Edge opens in 2019, that'll probably help, because everyone will be like, Star Wars! Because I think a lot of people are gravitating to this one because it's the newest and it's the greatest and the most exciting thing. And it's an amazing attraction, but I don't think people are attracted to it because it's Avatar. I think they're attracted to it because of the advancements in technology and how cool it is. Unlike Galaxy's Edge, where people are going to be like, Star Wars, and don't really care about the technology. They're just going to be like, Star Wars! And that'll probably help. And from what I understand is a lot of the techniques and technology and things that the Imagineers have applied to Pandora is going to be applied also to Galaxy's Edge, and that makes me so excited for Star Wars for Galaxy's Edge.
So this is kind of a test run of all the bells and whistles that Star Wars is going to get.
It kind of is, and that makes me really, really excited. And I mean, they're actively working on Galaxy's Edge. We went to Disney's Hollywood Studios on our first day, and of course, it's nothing but construction walls at the moment. But if you stood in the right spot, you could see the tippy top of like a mountain type thing, and they'd put up a Christmas tree at the very top of it. along with a flagpole and a flag. So that's about all you can see of Galaxy's Edge. Like, okay, well, I guess I'll see the rest of it in a couple of years.
So the Avatar stuff, kind of appetizer. Yes. Galaxy's Edge, main course.
Yeah.
There you go.
Depending on how you view it.
Yeah. I would say that is pretty darn accurate, actually. So it's a good time to be a theme park fan, both between and the competition between Disney and Universal. They're pushing each other. I think it's a good, healthy competition. They did Diagon Alley, and Disney's like, okay, well, here's Pandora. And now they're working on Galaxy's Edge, and Universal's working on an entire Nintendo-themed land, which I imagine that's going to be pretty amazing too. Universal's got a lot of former Disney employees working for them, so the two companies are definitely pushing each other, and we're benefiting from it.
Everybody wins.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, in this case, everybody wins. Except for maybe everybody's wallet, but
Yeah.
Well, that's an acceptable casualty.
Yeah, pretty much. That's Chauncey and I were joking about that. It's like, you're at Disney or Universal, and you're you can almost literally feel the money being sucked out of your wallet, but you just don't care. you just don't care.
You're getting something of value from it.
Yeah. Give me more of this. You can have all the money you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I had a lot of fun. Chauncey and I had a lot of fun. We had a great anniversary, but I'm glad our next trip is a cruise.
Rachel,
much more
did
relaxing.
You get to meet BB-8?
I did get to meet BB-8 and Baby Groot. I'm so excited. Yeah, very excited.
Remember when you had heard he was going to be there, you were hoping he'd still be there by the time you went. And I wanted to make sure.
Both of them. I told Chauncey we're on after we we're on the bus to our hotel, and I'm like. Like, okay, we're gonna go drop off our stuff, and then we're gonna go to the studios. And I'm like, the only two things I want to do is I want to meet BB-8 and I want to meet Baby Groot and Star-Lord, and I did both. So
yay.
It's all good. BB-8's wonderful. He's he's just a precious cinnamon roll, and we don't deserve him. The Star Wars area is fun. They've got like a mini version of part of the cantina with glasses of blue milk on the bar.
Oh, neat.
And then they've got Star-Lord and Baby Groot are tucked away inside One Man's Dream, which is the tribute to Walt Disney. Which it's all there. One Man's Dream, as Chauncey was concerned that it was gone. It's all there. They've just kind of shoved everything closer together. So like the display cases have a bit less room between them, but it's still all there just so they can make room for the meet and greet area for Star-Lord and Baby Groot, and we walked and we're going through, and then I see, the thing like meet Star-Lord and Baby Groot. I'm like, Marvel characters in Florida, and I'm not a Universal. This is amazing.
Keep up.
Yeah, and Star-Lord is awesome. The friend of Star-Lord, awesome personality. He's not Chris Pratt, but he was totally down for picking up what people are laying down, and Baby Groot is just adorable. Just adorable. I've got video of the encounter. I've got so much video, so it's gonna if I get it up by Christmas, I'll think I'll be good. Just because there's so much video. Yeah. So stay tuned. Once I get the video edited and uploaded, I'll make sure to post it on our Facebook page so people can see it. Yeah. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. And now I'm back to work, and I got to drive myself everywhere, and I can't have a Dole Whip on demand, unfortunately, but it's all good. Ah, we're being attacked! Oh my. Technical difficulties. All right, let's move on to this week's topic, which even with our week off, apparently Marvel is still on the menu. I hope our listeners aren't sick of all the Marvel related topics.
At some point, we're going to have to talk Star Wars.
Well, yeah,
we'll get there.
I know. I'm just saying.
The movie hasn't come out yet.
Something other than Marvel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have all sorts of things to talk about. So we'll just get there eventually. So, but in the meantime, we're gonna stick with Marvel, and more specifically, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yay! I gotta say, it's good. It's good to have these guys back.
Oh yes.
Yes. I don't know if
Coulson,
it was.
I miss May. I miss Mac. Yo, the whole crew.
Yep. I don't know if it was because we had Inhumans and that was kind of like, wow, this was not that great, or that it's so different with this one. Yes, 9 a little bit
Mm-hmm.
in the story. I don't know if anyone else thinks that.
I got a bit of that vibe.
And that's not a dig at all. That's like high praise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were, watching the premiere almost 2 weeks ago. And, it being a 2-hour premiere. So it's like, yay, lots of Coulson and crew to watch. And, we've got our chat where we talk about, the Marvel stuff, the TV shows, and we're like speculating on this, that, and the other thing, and we got some things right, and some things not, but
no,
but it was it's definitely an interesting ride that they're taking our crew on. We knew they were in space. That wasn't it was a surprise at the end of last season with that closer where it's like Coulson looking out the window and there's asteroids and we're like, what? So we're somewhat prepared for that going into this season. But there's an added twist that I kind of called it, but sort of not really. I suspected that time, because they kept referencing all the tech that's on this space station that they're on. And Coulson and all them are like, there's no way they could, this tech's very advanced. There's, unless they had outside help from like aliens or something, there's no way that a human a human group of people could have technology like this. And I wondered if time moved differently where they were, kind of like, I don't know what a good example is. Something. I had an example and I've forgotten what it was. Well, kind of like in Thor: Dark World when Jane goes into the kind of the dimension with the ether, and for her she's only been gone a few minutes, and Darcy's like, "You've been gone for 3 hours," kind of like that. That's what I kind of suspected, but apparently no, they traveled in time to the far future. Quite a bit a ways from where they left. So
just a bit, yeah.
Just a bit, which there in itself, it makes it easy for them to completely ignore everything that's going to be happening with Infinity War, assuming they don't get back to Earth in their proper time before Infinity War drops, which actually I think the season ends before Infinity War comes out, so we'll see.
So it would make sense they'd get back and be like, oh, that's happening now. And I kind of wonder if it's like, this is the future if Thanos wins.
Ooh.
If that's, so they're like, oh, we've got to get back and stop, or help stop Thanos from destroying the Earth.
Yeah, what they have kind of, I guess not insinuated, but the plot line that they've kind of laid out with Daisy, aka Quake, being responsible for the world literally being broken, Earth being literally being broken apart, is actually a pseudo Easter egg for a particular comic storyline where actually Thanos does do something with Quake to make her so powerful that she actually does have the ability to destroy an entire planet. Whether that will actually, whether they'll actually go that literal coming may or may not be the case, just because we know, they've explained to us a bazillion times that getting the movies and the TV shows to line up is extremely difficult. But to even have that, even have that slight influence, I guess is kind of a nod and a wink. But, at this point, anything could still happen, especially considering the higher ups have teased, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in this season we're going to get their 100th episode, which is a big deal for any television series, let alone one based off a comic book or comics. That their 100th episode is going to be big and a game changer. So anything could still happen once we get to episode 100, which isn't until next year, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that we're in space, it's really, and I think even Mac and May made that reference. So that's the one thing we haven't done yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, then, all the kind of jokes, oh yeah, we're in space, no one can hear us. It's just like, okay, yep, we're getting the movie references.
Yeah. But it's like, they're like, we're in space? Yep. Okay. I mean, Mac doesn't like it.
They just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mac,
well, I mean, Gemma's already been to an alien planet and had to survive on her own, so this thing is kind of like, well, it's a lot better than last time.
Yeah. That is true. That is very true. So, and the only downside is not everyone got to go. Fitz got left behind, so the good ship Fitzsimmons has been separated yet again.
Did they not catch a break?
No.
I mean, how many times did they say that about Captain Swan, even?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Captain Swan's got a better track record right now than her.
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly. So, and we haven't even seen Fitz. We're 3 episodes in, and we've yet to see Fitz.
So let's just.
He's still in the opening credits, so it's not like he's gone away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as they're concerned, Fitz has been, unless Fitz found a way to get to the same time period as them, he's been dead for quite a long time. They're what, like 100 years in the future or something like that. So it's a significant amount of time, which is Gemma even said, she's like, it's weird out there somewhere in their time, Fitz is still fighting to try to, rescue them. But as far as they are concerned, Fitz has, been dead for quite a long time just because of the amount of time that's passed. There's that wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey thing when you're talking about time travel. It gets kind of confusing.
Looks like we got a couple more episodes on the 22nd. I think we do find out about what's going to happen to Fitz, or what has happened.
Yeah.
So,
and it'll be interesting to see the return of Lance, if that's in their time, where they are now, or if we're going to see Hunter with Fitz in the past.
Right. Oh, I actually forgot that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, that was announced.
That's happening.
That's a thing. It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in space. I mean, it's, we've got, they found themselves in the middle of some strange happenings, and that's kind of what they do, for better or for worse. I mean, there's the Kree, so we're still dealing with the Kree, which is not fun because they're still bent for, taking over whatever. Thankfully, even with time travel and going into space, that both Daisy and Yo-Yo's powers still work. So they've got that going for them. That would really suck. Although Coulson doesn't.
Yeah, that was a little.
Coulson doesn't have his James
touch
Bond
and go
hand.
whether or not.
Yeah. But I loved this last episode that just aired, with Yo-Yo testing her abilities against Gil's security system to see what gets triggered and just how fast she can go. And we got that where she was able to get all the way to the other side of the room and back without anyone noticing. That was very cool. I'm glad they've made her a regular.
Yes.
So it just wouldn't be the same, I think. Plus, I think she's the only one that could talk Mac down from a ledge.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's. I think I made this comment in the chat too when we were watching the season opener. It's a very layered and complex storyline, I think, that they're going with this season, because they've got, they're in space, they're in the future, the Earth has been destroyed, as far as they're concerned. You've got the Kree that are being the Kree. And, supposedly at some point in the past, Daisy is going to destroy the Earth, or at least that's what their history books are telling them. And their records are telling them, which means, those could be wrong. I'm hoping that they're wrong. I'm hoping for Daisy's sake that they're wrong. You've still got Inhumans, not just Daisy and Yo-Yo, but we've got.
And then we get reference at the mainframe again, and if they're somewhere still trapped or if they're free.
Yeah, we get references to the mainframe. I loved the Easter egg in this last episode when they go out to see, because they've caught part of a transmission, and they're trying to get it, and they go to this specific spot in like the asteroid field, or what, the mining field, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and it's number 616. That's like, they said that, I'm like, now that's a comic book Easter egg I get, even without reading the comic books. I understand Earth 616. I'm like Captain America. I understand that reference. Yeah. I mean, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, it's just fun. The characters are, they're so well fleshed out. At least the ones. Coulson and May and all that, and they've got this relationship with each other. They found themselves in this situation. They're gonna figure it out. That's what they do. They're it's Coulson and crew. They get into scrapes, but they have each other's backs, and they'll figure it out. And at the same time, hopefully save some people in the process. You've got Gemma, once again, finds herself in... I don't even know what... It's Gemma. She finds herself in these situations.
In danger, yet again.
Yeah.
Sensing a theme with her. Bubble wrap girl.
Yeah. It's like, Gemma, you need to stop. Girlfriend,
or switch whatever perfume you're using. It's attracting you to things you shouldn't be going near.
Yeah. As a group, they work well as a group, but the minute they start getting splintered, that creates more hiccups and work for them. And we've got most of the crew together. Daisy off doing her thing, trying to save her friends. Meanwhile, Gemma's now gone into servitude, essentially, with these Kree.
It's not of her really own choosing.
It wasn't of her choosing.
First rule of D&D, you never split the party.
Yeah.
And look what happened when they split the party.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, even in the season opener, when they're like, we should split up, and Max will like, have you not seen an alien movie?
Exactly. I was like, Mac, yes. With you. You don't want to be the first 5 minutes of that kind of a movie.
Yeah. He's like, I know exactly who's going to be the first person that gets eaten.
Let's start tossing out red shirts now.
Yeah. It's like, we can't afford anyone to be a red shirt. Not you guys. We need you guys to stay intact. Thank you very much.
There's no Tahiti in sight.
Yes. Exactly. So, but it's just, it's so good. I can't, I don't know what else to say. It's just this show is, I think it's just so underappreciated. And
because I was thinking, it's like, oh, how I missed you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we jump right back into it. I mean, at this point, that we haven't had any sort of like, oh my god, you know.
Right.
It's just sort of a, here's our new setting, here's some new characters, this is what's going on, and you just kind of go with it, and it's a nice feeling. Not, you know, we're not being, you know, pushed or jerked around by any big revelations. That stuff's going to come later, and maybe they're kind of easing us into Infinity War too, because I'm sure that's sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out, because I'm not sure exactly when the season is due to end, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the season will be over before Infinity War, so it'll be over before May.
Well,
they're not breaking as far.
Smart.
Yeah, they're not getting any breaks, unlike last season where we got these breaks. It's just it's gonna go.
Well, and there was a lot of stuff preempting it.
Yeah.
Last year as well, so it's probably a good thing that they're just gonna, you know, that they waited until now. It's probably why, you know, why it didn't come out till December.
Yeah.
And then just go full tilt.
Yeah. So, because Wikipedia, you know, granted it's Wikipedia, but they only have episode titles listed through January 19th, which is episode 8 of the season, and there's 22 in the season, so.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, they kind of release these things bit by bit, so.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, I'm kind of glad they did Inhumans first instead of doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. taking a break, doing Inhumans, and then coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree to that.
That was a smart move.
Yeah. I think they knew what they were getting into as far as Inhumans is, you know, we discussed that. We did a whole episode.
Oh yeah,
we did. See last podcast about it.
Yes, go listen to that podcast episode if you want to hear our full opinions on Marvel's Inhumans. But I think, all things considering, I think they knew what was going to happen as far as Inhumans was concerned, and it was a filler. Because they needed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to start airing at a certain time, I think, to make everything work. And that's fine with me.
And it's like you said, they needed to, or, you know, it's not easy to make the show, the TV and the movies line up all the time with the scheduling. So this was a good way for them to do it.
Yep. Possibly. Hopefully. I'm still holding out hope. Call me a hopeless romantic or fangirl or whatever, but I'm still holding out hope that we'll get that big tie-in into the movies at some point. So it could also be the fact that, you know, I watched the Avengers on my flight to Florida, so that's fresh in my mind. So I'm like,
you're asked to see Coulson back on the big screen just one more time.
Oh,
at least let the Avengers know, like, hey, yeah, he survived. Everything's okay. Please.
Yeah.
I mean, you risked your lives in his honor, and oh yeah, he's actually alive.
Yeah.
Yep. and a stern warning from Tony: don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen that done in fan fiction, and pretty much every iteration that somebody's done fan fiction of that is the Avengers giving Coulson a stern talking to, keeping that secret. Yeah. I've seen people speculate that maybe we may see Coulson return in Captain Marvel, because that takes place pre-Avengers. So we could see Coulson return to the big screen, just not in the way you expect. because we're supposed to see because we're supposed to see Nick Fury in Captain Marvel with both eyeballs. So because it's 1990s Nick Fury before he lost the one eye. So we could potentially see Coulson, but I want to see Coulson with the Avengers. So surely someone knows. Someone has to know. If anyone knows, I think it's probably Roman Coulson is alive and she's just not saying anything. Mm-hmm. So the closest to an Avenger that knows Coulson is alive is actually Hill. Because Hill knows.
Right, yeah, she knows. Well, in Avengers, she was all like, those cards were in his locker.
Yeah. So, but it'll be interesting. It's just, it's weird. It's exciting, but it's weird just because we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back. And they're in space, and just knowing where the MCU is going and the potential, for tie-ins and crossovers and any possible Easter eggs. It's like, there's this. It's almost, it makes my head hurt because of the potential that is there. So.
And then speaking of parallels, Coulson being a Captain America fanboy, we get Virgil and his version of S.H.I.E.L.D. fanboys.
Yes.
I'm just like, oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they showed up and Virgil's like, it's you, Phil Coulson from S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'm like, oh, well, now Coulson knows what it's like to he fawned over
the receiving end. Right?
Yeah. So, it's one of those things where we're just gonna have to see how everything plays out. A lot of our shows, we have that anyway, where we watch shows like this, and it plays the long game as far as storyline and figuring out where things are gonna go. But it's just a TV show in its own universe. You get Game of Thrones where you're all like, oh, what's going to happen? Who's going to die? That sort of thing. But it's just contained within the Game of Thrones universe. Once upon a time, the Librarians, it's all just a TV show. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, even Doctor Who, I'm getting attacked again. It's the Kree. They're coming after us.
Yeah.
Someone's internet is not happy.
Hello?
Hello?
I can hear, I heard like it was a fan or something.
Yeah, it was almost like something was kicking in and blowing air.
I think that's my end, sorry.
Okay.
It's very loud.
It was like Rachel was talking, and it was just, she was getting quieter and quieter and quieter. The band was getting louder about it.
Away.
Yeah, that's really...
They're trying to keep me from talking. You cannot
Thanos is
stop
coming
me.
after us early.
Yeah.
You cannot stop me. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, TV shows. Even something like Doctor Who with its complex continuity, or sometimes lack thereof, it seems like. Wibbly wobbly.
Doctor Who's kind of the opposite of this because, there are spin-offs and other characters, but they don't really talk to each other.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is special in that regards because it's part of a much bigger universe and continuity. Mm-hmm. So, it's just, it's exciting. I'm excited.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yep. Going into 2018 and Infinity War and all that, it's just, it's going to be awesome. I'm sure there's still going to be times where we're screaming at the TV going, what are you doing? Especially good shit Fitzsimmons.
Right.
And we'll be buckling up the seatbelts and hoping that we don't have too much of a bumpy, jarring ride.
Yeah. But it is a good shit Fitzsimmons, so...
Yes.
No, it's an interesting thing. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's special because of the bigger universe that it's part of. Not that I'm complaining, but it just it leaves you kind of, gnawing on your fingernails going, okay, what's going to happen here because of, everything that's happening within the larger universe. It's like, But we
know there's going to be fallout, but how big and bad are they fallout?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll try not, if you do look at the list on Wikipedia with the titles, the episode titles, I guess try not to read too much into it. So. Although,
they tried to throw you for a loop.
Yeah, interesting footnote or something to look forward to. The first episode once we come back after the Christmas holidays, because there is a break for a week for Christmas and New Year's and all that. So there'll be an episode December 22nd, and then it'll come back January 5th. And that episode that airs on January 5th has been directed by Clark Gregg.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So Clark's going to...
Has he directed before? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I don't think he has.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So this will be exciting.
Yeah.
It's always fun when an actor of a show is directing said show.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how Clark does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Directing, so that is exciting. So yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back. Mm-hmm. It's back. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And try not to get too stressed out.
Yeah. Try not to.
I did say try.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that'd be easier said than done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this one, we can't do the do or do not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Try is the major operative word here.
Yeah.
We'll do our best. No guarantees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And if
anything else?
Someone invite us to the set.
You right?
Yeah, that's a standing request, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long-standing request.
If you need us to help on the craft services food truck, hey, put it aside, kid duty. We'll help you.
Yeah, totally.
I'll be a golfer.
Yeah.
You right?
For sure.
Like, do Fitz and Simmons need coffee? I'll go get it.
Right?
I'm more than happy to.
Heck.
Yeah. That's just it.
We can wash and wax Lola.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be
I don't know if we'll let us touch Lola.
Yeah, that would be a little
true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, they're just one of those. They're just one of those casts where, if you follow any of them on social media, which most of them are, with a few exceptions. I think Ian is really the only one of the main cast that's not on social media. But I mean, Clark and Ming-Na Wen and Elizabeth Henstridge and Chloe Bennett, they're all on the social medias and they're one of those crews where it's obvious they're friends. It's not just a job. They're friends. They're family with each other. And they have so much fun. And I was like, I just want to hang out with you guys because you look like you're having so much fun. I want to be invited to the party
and it's
too.
amazing how many of our shows that we do watch in this circle have ensemble casts like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's true. So kudos to them for sure.
Yeah. So I will, I can be packed in, like 30 minutes. Just let me know.
Rachel really wants a job on the set of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, even for like a
noticed?
day. Even just for like a day. I'm totally down. So I just really love this show.
There needs to be a show about that. I wonder if there ever has been, like, people, fans that get to go on set and try to do things and not trip over their shoelaces when they see their favorite actors.
I don't know. If not, that needs to be a thing. I will sign up.
Chrissy?
Yeah.
Later come up with something.
Should I try to pitch it and say, hey, look, do this?
We've got your first person right here.
Yes.
Exactly. And I'll take a 10% cut on the idea.
Chrissy will take a 10% cut and also an invite to the set of Once Upon a Time, so she can be Colin's personal gopher.
Yes, before that show gets canceled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, oh goodness.
Dear ABC. Dear Mickey Mouse.
Mm-hmm. Looking for a mid-season replacement show? Here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go. Try this out.
But only while these shows are still in existence.
It has the benefit of being both a reality show and it has something to do with the shows, the scripted shows that are on. So everybody gets something.
Yes.
And it's part of your network.
There you go.
And it'd be a reality show I would watch, which is a real thing.
Right? Oh, anyway.
Dear ABC, thank you. You're welcome. Please call me.
I'll have my people call your people or something like that.
Yes.
Well, if any of our listeners want to try to get in on this as of yet unsold reality show that probably won't happen, but we can all dream.
Yeah. If anyone knows anyone who knows anyone who knows anyone.
You can send us feedback and tell us how goofy this is, or volunteer to be the first. Well, second, because Rachel's going to be the first.
Well, third,
the first,
because it'd be me and then Chrissy and then someone else.
Okay, the third contestant on who wants to work on the set of their favorite show. We're still working on the title.
Yeah.
Send us feedback at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. And you can also visit our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, and there you will find links to all of our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, kind of being our two main ones that we interact with a lot of people there. And then you can also support the show by going to our Patreon page, which is also linked on our website. Mm-hmm. And you can also shop through our Amazon store, which this is a great time of year to be doing a little bit of shopping online. So if you go to our website first, then we get a little something from Amazon, and you get the stuff you need, and everybody wins, and it's awesome. And then you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. Mm-hmm. Did I forget anything? No, I didn't.
Nope.
So check us out and keep up with us on social media and rate. You can rate on us and all those places and leave us comments. And if you leave us comments or send us feedback, we'll read it out on the show. Mm-hmm. So you can be famous throughout the country and maybe to all of our handfuls of listeners who download the show every week and listen.
Well, we can give you your 2 minutes of fame. Or it depends on how long your comment is, I guess.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We're a real Mickey Mouse organization.
Yeah. Almost literally.
Mickey Mouse, we ain't even Betty Boop. Anyway, we're being silly now.
Yeah.
That's my...
Yeah. Well. Yeah, the good news is next week we will not be back with more Marvel stuff. Not unless it's Marvel related.
Totally different.
It may still be a Disney-owned property. Depending.
Right, but it won't be Marvel.
But it won't be Marvel.
True enough that.
So, depends on how quickly we all get to see The Last Jedi.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
We'll either be back with The Last Jedi. We're gonna have to discuss this after we get off the air. So we'll either be back, dear listener, with The Last Jedi, Once Upon a Time, because the winter finale is this Friday, I think, or The Librarians. Mm-hmm. So it'll be one of those. So it's 2 out of 3 are Disney properties, the other is not. So
place your bets on which one is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
there is no money involved. Just the pride of guessing correctly or the agony of guessing correctly.
Yeah. But it won't be Marvel. We can at least promise you that.
Yes.
Although if that Infinity War
We've
trailer...
exhausted all of our Marvel stuff. If
the Infinity War trailer plays before The Last Jedi, though, I may have to make a comment on how awesome it's going to look on the big screen. But...
Right?
But besides that...
That's as much as you're going to get.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it depends on if there's any Marvel news.
Well, yes. We can't guarantee there won't be Marvel news, but our main topic will not be Marvel related.
Nope.
More than likely. We can't make any promises because that's going to happen.
Hopefully that doesn't disappoint too many people. Who've gotten used to us being the Marvel Fangirls podcast.
It's just that they've been very busy over there, so there's a lot to discuss.
Yes.
All right.
Anyway,
I think with that we're going.
Why am I yawning? I should.
I think with that we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Tyler from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Clark Gregg, call me. Been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.